Evening all. That's only call me Dave again. God, that's hot, isn't it? I did some exercise today out there in the garden. I sweat that much I could have made a pan of chips. I'm telling you. Whoa. It's cooled down a bit now though. Do you know my old dad? He was in the Navy, and my mum used to go down on a Saturday night to the old disco, and she used to go with her sister, and her sister was with a builder. And my mum said, "But I don't like builders. I like seamen." It's like, don't tell everyone that, mum. Good hell. And my daddy loved to drink. He was in the Navy, wasn't he? Uncle Albert at fucking Only Fools and Horses. So if you have rum before breakfast, you're a pirate, not a fucking alcoholic, This one time, he was drinking some rum. He'd had a skinful. And he walked into the same wall 4 times. He turned to me and said, "Shit, son, we're bricked in." Hey, mate said, "Are you a hard drinker?" He said, "Nah, it's the easiest thing I've ever done, mate." I remember I was sat with me dad when I was young, watching Star Wars. I said, "Dad, I wish I could have been shot into space." He said, "If your mother hadn't been pissed that night, son, you would have been." You know what I mean? And you would have been. God, that's hot. Nice cool one. Aldi's finest, Chateau Neuf de Cac. Yeah, you can't beat it. Well, you can, but it costs you a lot of fucking money. Yeah, my dad's very supportive, especially with comedy. He loves a glass of rum and a good laugh. And he said, son, you know where I am. I'm always on the phone." I said, "How am I going to fucking get through then? If you'll be engaged, wouldn't you? If you're always on the fucking phone." My mate was adopted, and he was having an argument with his dad, and they were shouting back and forth, and his dad said, "When you're older, you'll understand what I'm saying." He said, "You might have kids of your own." He said, "Yeah, so might you, Dad." What a cheeky little git. He was adopted, wasn't he? Wasn't his real fucking dad, was it? You know what I mean? This one time, not at band camp, this one time me and my dad were out in the forest getting some wood. We had a wood burner in the house. Lovely in the evening. And he said, "You see that tree over there? That's a dogwood tree." I went, "Really? How can you tell?" And he said, "You can tell by the bark, son." Tell by the fucking bark, you get it? Woof, woof, woof. Bark is also on the fucking tree, isn't it? Cock. I make this shit up for free, I've been a rough time lately. I haven't been able to do comedy for a while. My mate said, "You'll have to come back with a bang." I said, "I will, but I'll have to do that after I finish recording the comedy." You don't want to see me bang, do you, cock? You know what I mean? Come back with a bang. I picked up a hitchhiker yesterday. Well, I had to. I knocked the cunt down. You know what I mean? Picked him up. I went into work the other day. They've got loads of new rules. They make new ones up every fucking week. You know what I mean? The admin lady was fucking naked apart from her blouse. I went, Oi, what's going on here?" She said, "New policy. You have to be bare below the elbow." And she showed her elbows. I said, "That means on your arms. Get some clothes on, woman. You fucking beaver out. Curly clock springs on the fucking desk." Thick as shit. When I was young, I went out with a very short girl. Well, a midget. Cock, My mum caught us in bed, getting it on. She said, "Well, I never." I went, "You fucking must have done. How did I get here?" And she was moaning at me every day about it after that. "What about if you have children? They'll be tiny children." And I said, "Mum, when I was young, I took notice of all the fucking stupid things you said to me. And you always said to me, that good things come in small packages." Well, that's what I fucking did. Terrible. But it's true. My mate's son was arrested for possession of heroin. I said, "Blimey, kids are shooting up quicker these days, aren't they?" Shoot. You know what I fucking mean. Anyway, phone up the drugs helpline, And this voice said, "If you want advice on cannabis, press the hash key." Fucking hash key. My mate was knocked over. He broke his leg. The ambulance man, he saw it as a serious break in his leg. He gave him ketamine for pain relief. And He told me, he said, I had Special K every morning after that. He said, I wasn't a fucking breakfast cereal. He said, if you know, you know. Ketamine and cocaine. He felt no fucking pain, did he? Smacked up to his tits. Why is it, cock? When something goes wrong, it's called a cock up. If your cock's up, that's a good thing, isn't it? If your cock is down, no more pleasure. It's a bad thing. A cock down. It's not pleasurable anymore, is it? I mean, you're up. You know what I mean? And why is it? Well, fucking why is it? When something goes wrong, it goes tits up. Lads and lesbians and all the others, if your partner is laying down and their tits are pointing up, it's normally a good thing, right? It's about to get a bit of action. Yeah. Well, you'd expect. Not in this fucking heat. Christ. Catch fire. Quick drink. I was at work and someone asked the nurse, I said, how's the ward today? She said, it's a bit hairy on here at the moment. I said, you want to borrow me lady shaver? It's a funny expression, isn't it? It's a bit hairy. Yeah, my mate, I like motorbikes, you know. My mate says you should get a nice 1 litre racing bike like we did in the old days. Have some fun. So I've got a touring bike, never been on a fucking tour in my life. I said, look mate, if I wanted to lay down on something and give it a good hard ride, holding on for dear life, hurting me fucking back, I'd rather spend the night with a good woman, you know. I said, I like a woman like a 1990s sport bike. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, more comfy, wider back end, more to grab onto, you know, give it some welly. Fair play. Yeah. I was in bed with the missus the other night, she'd been watching the news. Fucking depressing stuff, isn't it? She said, if things carry on like this, there's going to end up being a big divide. I went, really? Get your legs open or we can both celebrate the fucking big divide. Yeah, you know. Maybe that's called a small divide. And that's been a tough time lately. I said before, you know, in the family. Lost a little one. His priest said, bless your cotton socks. I said, that's no good for me, fucking reverend. I've got mine are fucking polyester. So, I sat watching the TV with my girlfriend. She flicked through the channel. She said, do you fancy a bit of Big Bang Theory? I said, I fancy a bit of Big Bang Practical, if you don't mind. You know, sod the theory. Yeah. I was with a new girlfriend once and we were getting it on for the first time, cock. She took me pants off. She had a look. She said, I thought you said you had at least a foot down there. I said, no. I said, I got a fucking athlete's foot, you know. Yeah. She thought I was a fucking athlete. Well, what she actually said was, you've been out fucking 3 nights running this week. Dave, what the fuck are you playing at? Get your cock out. And I did. See ya. Yeah. I went out with a lovely Welsh girl once. I'm Welsh, you know. I knew she was Welsh straight away. It's a fucking woolly jumper. We got on really well, and after a few months, fucking few weeks more like, we ended up in a very steamy situation. I didn't take her to the fucking sauna, you know, bit of fun. And she said, I'm a Mormon, and I can't have sex until after marriage. I thought that she said, fucking moron. I said, you're not a moron, love. She said, I can't have sex until after marriage. I said, well, that's over then, and I pissed off. She called me later, and she said, why'd you piss off? I said, well, in England, most women don't have sex after fucking marriage. I'm not going to take that fucking risk. Do you know what I mean? None before, none after. Fucking hell. Yeah. I was out in town. We got talking to these lovely ladies. My friend fancied one, you know. Lumps and bumps in the right place. Nice arse. She's a lovely girl. But she was a bit bigger than he's used to. And she said, I'll go out with you, but I want to know. I want a man who knows his way around a woman's body. You know. He come back over to me, whispered in my ear. And he said, she wants a man who knows his way around a woman's body. He started looking at fucking Google Maps. I said, no, she wants someone who knows how to please her in bed. He went, oh. He said the first time he got on top of her, he rolled over twice, he was still on fucking top of her. He showed me this big red mark on his arse. Fucking, that's off the light bulb. You know what I mean? He said, well, she's a good all-rounder. I said, I can fucking say that. Jesus. Everywhere. There's a lady at work. She's very religious, bless her. She said to me the other day she's been waiting years for the second coming. I said, it's not going to happen, love. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, once us men have ejaculated, we have to wait quite a while before we can come again, you know. I mean, I'm a blue comedian. How the fuck did I know she meant Jesus' return? You know what I mean? I always know when my missus is thinking about sex. She always says those 3 magic words that really get me in the mood. You fuck off. You know what I mean? You fucking know, don't you? Yeah. Policeman stopped me yesterday in the car. I got one of them faces. As in, I look a right cunt. And we'll stop him, you know. That's why I wear a fucking mask. He said, give me your name. I said, what the fuck am I going to use, you know? He said, address. I said, no, I don't wear one. Offered her. He said, tell me in your own words what you've just been doing. I said, constable. I don't have my own words. I'm using the same words every other cunt's using. Do you know what I mean? You go, we got a comedian here. I went, how the fuck do you know? I can give you details yet. Fucking hell, must be a fan. Yeah. Do you ever think about things too much? I think you're guilty of that these days, everybody. And my mate said you must buy the new Teflon non-stick pan. It's fucking brilliant. And it is. And I thought to myself, if they're non-stick, how does the fucking Teflon coating stick on the pan then? You know what I mean? Surely the pan would fall off the coating, wouldn't it? That's just me then. There's this lady at work. She said, I just had a nice weekend away in Cromer up near Norwich. I said, I bet you had a few drinks and partied a bit, didn't you? I said, did you come back with crabs? She said, fuck off, you cheeky twat. I said, no, that's famous for us crabs you eat, not the little nippy ones, you know. She said, well, we did have fish and chips. I thought, fucking hell, push the boat out. Well, somebody obviously did to get the fish. You know, I once worked for the Samaritans, cock. Must have been good. No one ever called back. Me mate, talking of fish, my mate said, what do you think about net zero? I said, I feel sorry for the fucking fishermen. What are they going to catch the fish with? They're net zero. I don't know, we're made of carbon. We breathe out fucking CO2. Unless we stop breathing, we'll always have a fucking carbon footprint, won't we? I mean, you need CO2 for the fucking plants. And we need to eat the plants. And we need the air stuff. My mate said, what do you think about gay marriage? I said, I think all gay people should be allowed to be as miserable as the fucking rest of us. Why should we all have the misery? Share that misery. Let them all fucking get married. I went to see the GP trying to get marijuana on the NHS again for itchy scrot. All men suffer with itchy scrot. I said, what's that sign above the door here then, Doc? He said, doctor's practice. I said, yeah, that fucking sign. I said, this isn't a friendly game, doctor. I want the real thing. No practicing, mate. I want it for real. Anyone got a computer? With a PC? Obviously, I use a fucking computer, you know. We're in a digital age, you know. Yeah, I bought 3 fucking SSD drives. All fucking lost all my data. And died. Supposed to be cutting edge technology. I now call them solid shite drives. If any of you out there don't like your PC, you don't want any of your data, you don't want to play any games, and you don't want to use your computer, buy some. Sarcasm is a beautiful thing. If it can shite. Yeah. People say some funny things to their kids, don't they? I saw a man and his son in A&E the other day. The young boy had fucking blood streaming down his cheeks. He said, Dad, you told me to keep my eyes peeled. He goes, that's not what I fucking meant, son. Fucking hell, keep my eyes peeled. Yeah. Anyone ever tried meditation? That's good to relax in the evening before bed, but always give me flashbacks of when I was a kid. Do you know what I mean? You sit there and you go, You know when you were young and you did something wrong, your brother or sister go, I'm telling mum on you. Yeah. Did you know Kanye West? He's changed his name to Yeah. I told the missus straight away. She went out and changed her name to fucking No. Well, that saved me loads of conversations. You fancy a bit of fun tonight, No? There's my answer, isn't it? Fancy give me a gobble, No? Yeah. I was at work the other day. I was supposed to be in a certain area, and I wasn't. I had one foot in the door. My boss come up and he said, you're supposed to be in zone 1. What the fuck are you doing? I said, I'm just making a pot of coffee, and then I'm going to give Cassie one. He went, that sounds good. In which order? I said, I'm trying to be professional here, boss. Coffee makes you more productive. Cheeky cunt. Wishful thinking. I was watching TV. I don't normally because they're shite. I was caught unaware. I was in the lounge at work and the fucking TV was on. And there was a programme on about an island where everybody lives to over 100. And they call it the Island of the Immortals. Well, they all fucking die, don't they? So not immortal, are they? So it should be called the Island of the Wrinkled Old Bastards, really, shouldn't it? And I'm not far away from that myself, you know. It sounds nice, doesn't it? Cock. Retiring there. What's going on with this fucking Keir Starmer geezer? Fucking hell, this man must put sugar on his sugar puffs. He's probably the only person that goes in the fucking toilet and has a shit when the train is in the station. You know? Fucking hell. What's 12 inches long and hangs in front of an arsehole? Keir Starmer's toy. Christ. Someone get this man some CBT or ECT therapy. We can all get on with life again, you know? Help the bloke out a bit. And what's going on in the co-op? Not very fucking cooperative, are they? It's gotten that bad now that people are going to Holland and Barrett for a loaf of bread. Used to call that Harrods and Barrett. We now call the co-op Harrods of fucking England. £2 for a loaf of bread. The fucking new uniform in the co-op is a mask and a fucking stripy jumper. Fucking daylight robbery, innit? You know what I mean? Yeah. When I was a young lad, I fell off my bike and broke my fucking leg. My mate grabbed me phone and he phoned me dad and he didn't answer. He said, "Shall I try your mum?" I said, "Yeah, but if my dad catches you in bed with her, he'll kick your fucking teeth in." You know what I mean? Shall I try your mum? Yeah. I was at work. I've been asking my boss for a big raise for months now. Not as big as this fucker. Last Friday she got me in the office, undone me zip, stuff, tossing me off. And I was very polite about it. I said, "This is very nice and all of that, but I really wanted the money, you know, like a pay rise." A big raise. Give her a fucking big raise. Well, I won't, because she got a cock. She could get one of these off eBay. I've been exercising, I've been eating really healthy lately, you know, off my health. I got some authentic Greek yoghurt. It must have been genuine. I only had 3 spoonfuls and I smashed all the fucking plates. Yeah, you'll fucking get it later. The joke, you know. Do what you like at home. I was watching Deal or No Deal. There was this Welsh bird on there. She only had reds left in play. Stephen Mulhern said, "Tracy, by the end of this session, I really want to see a big red one in your box." I thought, the dirty bastard. I bet you do. He was looking sheepish. Terrible. I went into the gift shop the other day. I said, "Can I have my gift?" I said, "You don't have to pay for a gift. It's given, isn't it? It's a gift." They fucking threw me out. Security. Get this twat out of here, will you? Him in the mask. Playing Scrabble with friends. Well, they were friends before the game anyway. We almost had a fight. All I did, I put down the word minge. They said, "Minge is a slang word and you can't have it." I said, "Minge is a real thing. I've seen it. I've fucking tasted one recently." He said, "Right, why don't you put cunt down then?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I've seen one of them recently as well. Fucking right in front of me now." What a cunt. Yeah, when I was little, my dad said to me, "If you keep being cheeky, I'll give you a thick ear." A few days later, I woke up, and my cock swelled right up. I thought, Christ, I must have been too cheeky today. Jesus. I couldn't roll over. Yeah, don't look. There was a woman in a magazine, she had a rare condition. Every time she sneezed, she had an orgasm. On a bus. Had you? The interviewer, she interviewed and said, "Are you taking anything for it?" She said, "Yeah, lots of fucking pepper." You know. The first time I had a blowjob, I went, blowjob's a figure of speech. She kept going really fast. I said, "Take your time, love." I felt like she was rubbing me belly in with a fucking cheese grater. Anyway, she didn't listen. She kept going faster and faster. I went everywhere. I said, "I bet you didn't see that coming, did you?" She said, "I did, but that was too late by then." I thought, the dirty cow. Yeah, she knows her way around a sausage. Yeah, my mate walked in on his missus. She was getting on with the gardener. I thought, the cheeky. The gardener got up and he said, "Well, I've had a good look at the front garden and that bush needs a trim." He said, "There's a couple of acres down there." And mate said, "If I see you anywhere near my fucking wife again, you'll have a couple of fucking acres down there. Do you know what I mean, pal? Get out of it." Literally out of it. Fucking hell. Get out of it. Out of it. Out of it. There you go. My friend put on a lot of weight recently. He said it's okay. I'm fat, but I identify as skinny. I'm a trans slender. Fucking good one, isn't it? Yeah. My friend recently told my mum to claim attendance allowance. I said, what does she have to attend for that? She said, no, you don't have to attend anything. I said, why call it fucking attendance allowance then? Why not call it non-attendance allowance? Because you ain't got to fucking attend anything. She said, no, you phone up and you ask to claim attendance allowance. And if you're accepted, a woman comes round the house and helps your mum out and also relieves your dad. I said, what, relieves me dad? You fucking like that. Not sure about my mum. I went out on a date with this lady. She was very fun, very bubbly, and we cuddling in the car. She unzipped me flies and she started going down on me. I said, excuse me, what do you think you're doing? This is our first date. I hope you don't gobble all the lads on your first date. I said, I've got morals. I'm a genuine geezer. I like to get to know someone first. She ignored me and carried on. I'll tell you, I gave her a right fucking mouthful. AI. Fucking AI. Hello, Gemini. Fuck off, Dave, and go and speak to some real people, you sad bastard. At least she's honest. You want real intelligence, don't you? Everybody wants to blame someone now. Accidents and things. And they've now brought out this new sex insurance. So, if you're getting your end away in various situations, you're covered. Not in jizz. For insurance purposes, so companies cater for all scenarios. Look them up, give them a ring. If you have sex with your wife, you need legal and general. If you're having telephone sex, you need direct line. If you're having sex with your partner, you need standard life insurance. If you're having sex with someone different, you need Go Compare, don't you? Go Compare. Sex with a lady of bigger proportions, fucking more than. Sex on the back seat of a car, Sheila's wheels. You have sex with a prostitute, you need commercial union. You have sex with your cleaner, employer's liability. That makes sense. Sex with an old age pensioner, Saga. Well, I'd call it fucking sick, but Saga insurance. Fucking hell. That's fucking hot in here. Sex with animals. If you're from Wales, you'll know what this one is all about. National Farmers Union. You know what I mean? Sex with a monk or a Buddhist. Abbey life insurance. Sex with a Navy officer. You want Admiral insurance, don't you? Finally, sex with a transvestite. Fucking confused.com. Covered all bases. Make sure you're always covered. Not in love juice, I mean insurance-wise. Always fucking covered. Yeah, what do you make of that then, cock? Are you going to take some out? Well, that's nice to be back and have some laughs with everyone. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment, moan, whinge. Give me some helpful pointers. And I'll see you soon. I'll be coming to a pub or club soon. Get myself on the circuit. Take care.